Today's guest is Carina Hultqvist from Sweden, who is a psychic, remote viewer, lecturer, and writer who has had telepathic contact with aliens, angels, and other high cosmic beings. She has talked about an extinction level event that is coming due to climate change and other interesting topics. So let's welcome today's guest, Carina. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. As we go through these maybe challenging times, challenging energies, and this evolution of our levels of consciousness and physical and emotional bodies. I know myself for sure I'm feeling that, and I've obviously saw a lot of the interviews you've done and the experiences you've had, and your long list of your biography, which is very interesting. And I guess it's many of the things that have occurred in your life started out when you were much younger, when you were a child. Uh, that have
Yes,
put you on
already when
this.
I was six, I had my first experience when I was 6 years old.
Yeah, maybe you could start off and start off at that point in your life. This way, the sooner the better.
Okay, yeah. What happened? I was 6. I was supposed to start going to school, and this was my last summer before going to school. And I spent the summer at our summer house close to the sea. And I sat at the shore, and suddenly, very suddenly, I was transferred, abducted if you like, but transferred to a very, very small little cliff far, far out in the sea. I could see nothing around me but water. No land, no other islands, nothing. Just me on this very, very small little cliff. And somehow I knew why I was brought there. And I looked up to the sky and said, please, I don't want they to come for me now. And a few minutes later, someone whom I didn't know who it was, but I trusted somehow, brought me back again.
Wow.
And that was a very a deep experience for someone being 6 years old, and it never left me really, because I remembered this. I didn't know who it was until many, many years later, the one who had put me there and put me back again. But it was someone whom I met uh, about 60 years later,
Wow.
and who told me that was me who did it. So it was my first real weird experience of the unknown.
Yeah. When you had this experience, exactly what did you do with it? Did you share it with anybody? Were you able to talk to your parents about it?
No, 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 no way. I mean, I was brought up in a surrounding where such things were absolutely non-existent. So I
Yeah.
told no one. I had many, many experiences and encounters and things all my life after that, but I never told my parents any, nor didn't I tell my friends or schoolmates because they would just ridicule me.
Yeah. So you're brought up in a religious home, or
No, not at all, but
oh,
rather strict.
okay.
Yeah.
So why would it have been? What would have happened if you had mentioned something to this effect? What were you afraid of? There would have been some punishment for revealing something?
Yeah, I would have been punished in some way.
Yeah. Right. So you go from the path of these paranormal experiences, these connections to lies beyond this universe, and as you travel throughout your
Yes.
life, as you
Mm.
travel throughout your life now, you are, I guess, met with these experiences. So where do you shift from the discipline of your home and break away towards more of the magic and paranormal connections, or the desire to connect to these things?
I had many paranormal and also paranormal experiences and encounters while I grew up and went to school. But when I started my own company, which was a company where I started teaching people, then I was felt free to tell about my experiences and also to teach them how to reach out to other beings, both what we call aliens or extraterrestrials, and also these unseen beings in you know,
Yeah.
in the parapsychic world, we call elves and trolls and things like that. So I felt free to draw on my own experiences to teach others you can do this and that, and
Yeah.
see what happens. And they did.
Yeah, it's funny, but when I talk to a lot of people and I do interviews with them, many of the people off the record of just communication will share once you discuss an alien, UFOs, extraterrestrials, UAPs, and then many times when I'm in the company of people, they'll say, "Oh, I had an experience. I forgot about that. I never told anybody," uh,
Yeah, I
or
know.
the yeah, or the
Yeah, but it's the same with me now. After all these interviews I've had hundreds of letters and emails that people say, "Oh, I have the similar experiences, and I have never told anyone before. Now I understand, and I feel free to talk about it and have someone to discuss it with." And it's liberating for people because they have had this as a secret all their lives,
yeah.
and that's not healthy.
Well, if I refer to my own life as an individual with no connections to this as a child, at least in my
Yeah,
consciousness, then I would say to myself, what drew me to this particular subject, or what draws me to the subject itself? So,
yeah,
I mean, people who have reincarnations and past lives in different civilizations and different experiences are drawn to those specific types of experiences in the life they lead now. But in terms of
exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
So in terms of UFOs and extraterrestrials, I would say, as you're speaking, and my interest and the interest of those who go on this path would be in some capacity like a dark night of the soul, where we revert back to a
Oh,
dark
yes.
place in our lives, right? Would you come to that conclusion that many people, when they're suffering or struggling, go down the rabbit hole of information and come across or discover?
It is very often the dark night of the soul, and it can be very, very, very tough sometimes for many people. But once you are through it, you realize that new words open up to you, and it's worth all the suffering you've
Yeah,
gone through to receive this connection both to extraterrestrial beings, but also to your higher self, to your own soul and your own soul connection to source, to previous lives,
right.
incarnations of all kinds you've had or are going to have, or in other dimensions and timelines and all that. And it's a very, very, very fine, healthy, and, as I said, liberating feeling. And you can in quite another way um, talk about it with people without fear,
Yes.
without feeling what's going what are people thinking, what will happen. Just tell them, and they will say, "Oh yeah, we know, we have done it ourselves," and it's very good. It's fine to know we are so many.
Yeah. Well, to overcome the shame of
Yes,
exposing your inner world, I would say.
exactly.
Yeah. And then as we go back, I guess also dealing with the inner child wounds, then we come back and then we loop around towards what lies in the universe, almost like a circular motion. Um, we speak about the subject of reincarnation. And
Yes.
just a moment ago, I spoke about how that interacts with our present moment. Maybe you can share about some of the reincarnations, because I know you've said you've had many that you're in touch with. Maybe you could share the most recent one that would impact this specific interest and path that you're on or were on.
Well, I'm not sure the very recent ones
Okay.
are that very special, but I have some. I have about 20, 22 incarnations that I remember parts of. The most interesting incarnation, I think, was, don't laugh at me now, it was as a Merlin person. And do you know about the stories of King Arthur and Merlin and the Holy Grail and all those things? And, you
Somewhat.
know, somewhat knights around the round table, knights and all that.
Yes, I've heard of it, but I
There
have
was
not.
a no, anyway, there was a being called the Merlin, who was kind of a druid man, a druid, a teacher of from his time, his people. And there have actually been not one, but more, at least three Merlins, because that was not a name, it was a title. of this druid, kind of druid. And once upon a time, I was that being, lived in Scotland, and had a lot of connections to other people, teaching them ways of living that were more in line with Mother Nature, and
Yeah.
teaching them how to be with animals, how to live with wild animals, how to live in the woods, and how to find food for yourself and all that. And that was a very, very interesting lesson for me because I am trying to apply that in my life right now.
Yeah.
So that was something I learned. I taught it and I learned it myself and I apply it now,
Yeah.
which I think is a very practical way of
Absolutely.
using your previous incarnations.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a lot more, but we can leave that for another day.
When you speak about or when we speak about our mission or our journey in this lifetime, um, what was your motivation for delving into the magic world, into the witchcraft, the tarot reading, and to Kabbalah and other types of areas?
Yeah.
What were you searching for specifically?
I wasn't really searching. I knew from the very beginning, from my very first existence, life before incarnations, what I was supposed to do. And it was same theme in all incarnations. It was about teaching. And this time I thought I would teach people after kind of what is possible for these times. So in the 70s and 80s, I taught magic, New Age things, things that belonged, to tarot reading and a lot of pendulums and what have you, divining sticks and whatever, because that was popular. So I
Yeah,
used that kind of information to tell them more about what the purpose was of these things, what you can use it for higher purposes and so on. Then in the 90s and the next 10 years, I turned to magic, Kabbalah, and all the esoteric field because that was more in people's mind at that time. So I used kind of the situation of how the world was to teach in that way.
yeah,
After that, in the last 20 years, I taught officially. I went to the spiritual world and tried to help people to understand how to live a spiritual life. And I referred both to religious beings, to philosophers of all kinds, and to my own experience, and taught spirituality.
yeah,
And with spirituality, in a natural way, came into questions about what is cosmos, what is our universe like, what's living there, are there aliens? Yes, of course there are, and so on and so forth. And so came slowly to into the topic of extraterrestrials,
yeah,
which was a natural development. And there we are now.
yeah. Um, so as this connection from childhood continued,
Mm.
how did the connection become stronger with your ET connections themselves, and what were the experiences that took place that compounded that feeling in you that you were connected to the specific groups or
I
groups?
have known all my life that I'm on a mission here. I am connected. I'm kind of connected all the time. I don't connect. I am connected constantly. So I have no problem. I can just sit at my computer and da 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 and write something. And I do that each night, and then I look at what I have written because it's not me. It's just the fingers that have been used. I don't know what message comes through, but that comes. Lots of things come through. And so I'm connected all the time, and I have constant, shall we say, I don't communicate constantly with my extraterrestrial friends, but I know how to contact them. And I also know they know how to contact me. So they initiate the contacts mostly when they want me to do something or have a message or something.
So I've watched other interviews of your experience with a female. I don't know if you described her as a Nordic being in some capacity, or maybe I have that misunderstood. But someone that came to meet you, and or you saw. I mean, you have had different experiences that have reinforced this connection. One was
Yes.
the crop circle. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the crop circle that happened.
Yes, I think crop circles are made by extraterrestrials, and I think there is quite a lot of evidence for that idea. And people have seen when the circles have been made and so on. So I've been to England where the crop circles are most common, and a couple of times. And one time when I was there, I saw a I saw many interesting crop circles, but I felt, well, there is some circle that I'm connected to in a special way, and I haven't seen it. So I was quite disappointed at that time. When I got home, I saw in a crop circle journal a picture of a what if you remember the Arecibo message we sent out in space telling about it was in many years ago, in the 70s or 80s, I don't remember when, we were on this planet and we were, our DNA and all that. And we sent it out. And 25 years later, a crop circle appeared on near Chilbolton in England, in Britain. And it was a similar thing, but sent from some other species on another planet, telling we live here on this planet, here in this solar system, and we are so and so in our DNA is that and that. So it wasn't a very obvious answer. The day after that, there appeared a crop circle beside it with a face of a person that I thought was female. I thought she looked a little bit like me. So I was curious and I thought, I would like to meet this being.
Right, right.
A week later, I woke up in the middle of the night by the feeling that there is someone in my room. So I just sat up in my bed, opened my eyes, and there she stood beside my bed. This Chilbolton face person. I called her Chili because that was from Chilbolton. She was a bit shorter than me, but she was real. I stretched out my hand and I very, very carefully touched her just to feel if she was real or if I was just imagining. But she was real. She felt warm and soft, and she smiled a little and then disappeared.
Wow.
So that gave me some proof of, yeah, that connection exists. And after that, we have had conversations now and then when she wants it, because she is not from here, she is from another solar system rather far away. So that's one of my connections.
Yeah, yeah. What is the main messages and the intention for your connection? What do you think that they're here to connect with you for? And if you're a, as a representative
Yeah.
on this planet for
Mm.
them, maybe you could just share a little bit
Yeah,
of.
I have connections, a lot of connections, both in the Council of Nine and all these different personal connections as well. They all want the same thing. They want me to help them to save the planet from people, because we are the culprits, so to say. We destroy our planet.
Yeah,
They want us to change, and they want the planet to be healed again, and they want me to help, to instruct people, to inform people, to help people to do the right things at the right time in the right order.
yeah,
And that's why I'm here. I'm here
yeah,
to save the oceans, to save the forests, and I'm not especially here to save people, but to tell people what to do instead.
How
So
effect
I'm here as an informant, more or less.
so in assessing the connection that you have and sharing this information, are there times where it's motivating and times where it's frustrating? And when you assess it, do you say, how successful have I been able to accomplish what I'm here to do? What is your
It's
what?
extremely frustrating before people because people don't care a bit.
Right.
I mean, they have enough with their families. Children go to school, they have to pay their bills, they have to get the fuel for the car, etc., etc. They have neither time nor interest to care about the climate or
Yeah.
nature. So they have enough with their own lives. So they are not bad people. They are just too much focus on their own problems, their own family, their own lives. So the world problems or the more international questions are, they say, oh, this is for experts. They have to fix it. We can't do it. We can't do anything anyway. So we just leave it.
I would
So
say,
it's yeah, it's frustrating.
yeah, yeah. I would say that the materialism and the connection towards the three-dimensional reality. I would say that when we go on again, going back to that, some type of dark night of the soul, or some type of near-death experience, or some type of awakening that a
Mm,
person experiences, I think naturally puts the person on the path of eventually evolving to
yeah.
all of the things that you're discussing. So how do we
Yes.
draw people to raise their levels of consciousness? And who are you connecting to? You're obviously connecting to people who are already evolving and people who are in this three-dimensional materialism world, protecting families, protecting their money, thinking
Mm.
that this incarnation is all that there is. How do you raise their level of consciousness and communication? Or what do you do? Like family members, if you had relatives who didn't believe in the things that you did, how does it work? How do you,
Well, my relatives don't believe in what I do.
right?
I don't even try to tell them or to discuss with them because they believe what they believe, and I let them do that. I don't care really, um, because I think that there are a few things that people do which are very interesting. People uh, live according to nature's principles, and there are three principles in nature: to eat, to avoid being eaten, and to reproduce. And we humans are extremely good at these three things. So we are too many. We our waste is too much. The the earth is overpopulated because we actually listen to these principles either consciously or not. But what I tell people, I mean, normally they agree to this, but what I tell people is they have completely forgotten that there are cosmic laws that are kind of governing these principles. And the most important cosmic law is the law of balance. There should be a balance about eating and excreting, night, day, getting and giving, and all that. And people have forgotten that. So I very much talk about balance. And that's something people can understand and will eventually understand on a more, shall we say, on a soul level
Yeah.
and change their ways of living. And the climate changes will add to that. So I'm hopeful for the future.
Yeah. I, I,
I
I mean,
really am.
maybe you could share a little bit about some of the information that you've been given through your extraterrestrial contacts about climate change, because most people think that it's not a natural phenomenon to have climate change, but from hearing
Well,
your
it is a natural phenomenon. We have had many climate changes. There has been ice ages, and there have been what we call interglacial times between, and that is absolutely normal. And there have been at least five before us, before we humans populated this planet at all. So it's normal to have a climate change now. Perfectly normal. It's expected. The problem is that we have made it a lot worse than it needs to be. So, because we are too many, we are whatever, 8 billion or something around,
Yeah.
and the Earth can only sustain 3 billion. So what happens? The Earth will kind of fix it,
Yeah.
shake us off in a way. So what will happen is that climate changes and the natural disasters that follow with the changes, like landslides, there will be maybe hurricanes, there will be a lot of lot of diseases, pandemics, mass immigration. There will be famine, everything that goes with these changes. That will, of course, kill off a lot of us. We will die from the not natural and natural causes and disasters of these kinds. Um, that's normal, more or less. It's terrible, but it's normal.
Yeah.
Then some people will, as my extraterrestrial friends have told me, they will come here and help us, and they will evacuate, and they will take away a lot of people to other planets for some time until things have settled down again here on this planet, and they may return or may not return, and that's a choice we have by then. But that's for in the future. It's not my generation's job to do this. We're just telling them about what is going to happen. But what is going to happen is that there are a lot of, you may have heard of children that have special qualities, who are extremely sensitive, extremely talented. Many of them have diagnoses like, ADHD or whatever. And these people, these young beings, often babies and young people, teenagers, they are our future leaders because they are so talented. They are so enormously intelligent. So they will lead us through all these disasters into the future, which will be which some call the new Earth, and some call something else, but it will be something that is coming after all the Western civilization is gone with everything in it. And that is something that will happen during the next 50 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Starting, it has already started.
Yeah. I mean, the new generation of I guess star seeds we can call them.
They are star seeds, or you call them star children, or rainbow children, or whatever. Yeah, so the star seeds.
Yeah, it's it's
It's a
it's
good name.
it's interesting that a catastrophic event, as you mentioned, has happened over our lifetime, over our evolution, and
Yes.
um, in communicating with extraterrestrials, and I know of various people who have their connections and have different means of what they receive. Um, what would you say the most profound information that they've been channeling to you? Is it this catastrophic event, or is it something beyond that?
What they want me to understand is that we are all connected, that we humans are also an alien race that once upon a time um, migrated to this planet. So we are not different from them. So we all belong together, and we have a common responsibility for this planet and for all other planets in our solar system and other solar systems as well. We all belong together, so we all have to help each other to live according to the best principles possible for what is possible on this very planet. And that's what's needed, and we need to understand that we have this responsibility. If we claim to be intelligent, we must show it.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Some people are, as you had early experiences, and as I've grown, I've had encounters or sightings myself over the last 2 years, I'd say. And
Yeah.
through those experiences themselves, I do feel connection through dreams and through beings myself. Uh, and you come to a crossroad of trying to understand what everything means, but more or less
Yes.
just surrendering to the idea of the energies that are being passed on, or maybe healing is being done, or having the forum to be able to say these words on an open channel to how have other people hear that, brings that connection. But what do you think the intention of the extraterrestrials are for us here, for humanity per se?
Their intention right now is to very slowly come one by one or two or three, or few of them, and to come to us and offer their help.
Right,
And they know by experience that most of us, are extremely afraid of what's up there in the sky and look at it and shoot at it and kill them. And we have military and we have planes and a lot of things to because we think they are kind of enemies or invading us, which of course is not true at all. They come to help us. So first of all, they have to overcome our fear of them. So they come only to those who are prepared first, and then they come in larger groups and offer their help to organize the organization, the civilization again, which is a hell of a job.
yeah, yeah,
It's really difficult because we are so stuck into what we think about development, more and more and more things, more and more money. We need to expand. We need to become better. We need to have more money. We need more and more,
right,
and we can't live that way. So that's their intention. But they're very careful about it because they know how afraid people are. They
yeah.
don't want to scare anyone.
Well, this
That's
to
why
some.
we have so many sightings in the sky right now.
Yeah, well, I'm in New Jersey, and over the last 2 years, I think the Boeing or Grumman, I'm not too sure of the manufacturer, those that produce the drones themselves, they were flying overhead night and every evening for about maybe 6, 7 months.
Yeah, I heard about that. We
Yeah,
saw it on television. Yeah,
yes.
but
So
we're both alien drones and US drones.
yes,
Your drones and their drones,
yes,
or drones, but they're vehicles
and
rather.
it's interesting the conversations that I have with people, my friends that I work with, who haven't gone up this rabbit hole of understanding or this insight,
Yeah.
and how we get drawn into the three-dimensional reasoning of things as opposed to going above it. And so my philosophy or my
Yes.
personality is always to try to get to the foundation, the ground, the roots of something, as opposed to looking at the trees or the branches themselves. And so this was
Mm.
something that was interesting. And many people who have, for I went to dinner with a couple the other night, and they said, "Do you believe that these things are flying in the sky? What are they? Do you really think that exists?"
Mm.
And when I had the
Yeah.
conversation, it's almost not that one is better than someone, but maybe the ignorance of like a child believing in a holiday or maybe Christmas tree or Christmas itself and saying
Mm.
Santa's not coming uh, down the chimney. It's almost, it shows you how backwards we are
Yes. Yes.
and how.
And yes, you're right. And here in my country where I live, which is Sweden, in Northern Europe, we haven't had many sightings. We haven't seen much in the skies. So people are very questioning, is this real? Do you really believe in that? We haven't seen anything. We don't believe in it. Oh, you're just telling storytelling. You're lying or whatever because they haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
There is nothing to see here in the sky right now. So if people don't see it themselves, they have it. It's very hard for them to believe in all this.
yeah.
So that's troublesome.
Well, I guess everybody's path is open for in time, in divine timing, when it's supposed to happen. when people are supposed to
Yes.
evolve and change. The subject of near-death experiences, often, or I interview many people who've had these experiences who've gone from the feeling of atheist to then having encounters with angels in the afterlife after their near-death experience or
Yeah.
alien beings.
Yes.
Perhaps you can
Yes.
differentiate between the difference between angels and aliens as people come into encounters with these experiences that they have.
It it is very easy because angels and the beings that we used to call gods or any divine beings or higher beings are also what we would call aliens, but on a much higher level of they are much more spiritually evolved than others, and there are levels of development all the time. So those beings that we call angels, we can still call them angels. It doesn't matter what we call them, but they are extremely evolved alien beings without bodies. They don't have bodies. They don't live on planets. They live in a surrounding that doesn't support bodies. So they are they are they are mostly light beings. They're pure light beings. And there are also even higher light beings, those we call the masters or even the gods. Also, very, very high. They are light, the light, so to say. They are the center of light, expanding and encompassing all others. But the light lessens and the information lessens the lower we get in frequency. So they are very high frequency beings, very enlightened beings, and then the rest of us in different scales of enlightenment, so to say.
Yeah,
So we are on a fairly low frequency, we humans here on the planet, which all um, incarnated beings are, because it requires a lower frequency to be incarnated in a body.
yeah. So it's very interesting. I mean, the spiritual path. I mean, of believing in something that you just can't make certain things up. You have to have some type of unconscious connection to it, or being at least being fed
Yes.
that channel of what lies beyond the universe, and to come up with this information. Um, the subject of alien or UFO disclosure. Many people are trying
Yeah.
to fight to have things exposed. But I think within one's soul, one knows what exists as you do without having to have disclosure per se. I think for the general public to be made aware of something, it would be probably either shocking or eye-opening for them to have something confirmed. But what are your
It
thoughts?
will, yeah, it will be a shock, but it will be necessary because when they come, and they will come, we will we will need to know that they are not dangerous. We will need disclosure before they come, so people are prepared for their at least seeing something or hear about them or watching them at a distance and not getting in shock or disbelief or fear. So it would be better with disclosure as soon as possible. I wish the American government would release all papers, everything, and let us know what's happened and what there is, what they know by now, and they know quite a lot. I mean, they have a lot of retrieval materials and all that,
Yeah,
and they know much, very much. Uh, it would be fine if we had that information, perhaps next year, before aliens. I hate the word aliens, by the way.
I understand.
They are extraterrestrial cousins or so, but still, before they come, in order not to create a chaos.
How do you think that they would show up other than the way they have been showing up already? Would there be some profound event that would take place?
No, 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 not at all. They will do it very smoothly. They will start by connecting and showing up to certain selected beings that they already have connection to. and show themselves to those beings and start to cooperate with one or two people at a time, and then come a little more, perhaps a group of four or five, and so on, to people who already are prepared and believe in them and know they are there. And so little by little
Yeah.
make people feeling used to their presence. You know, many of them look very much like us.
Yeah.
So it would be such shock if those come first, and they know that.
The thing is they make connections with those that already believe in them, and then if
Mm,
someone has to be in either in the limelight or have a connection towards media or a connection of group of people to spread the word of what's taking place, like we're
right.
trying to do here, or at least make that connection. Um, the subject of Jesus as a alien being or an angelic figure, a high energy master in human form. I had a connection in
Mm,
Ecuador, Ecuadorian man shaman who I think told me maybe 30 years ago in the Amazon, him and a group of thousands of men were told to go to the Amazon, and a ship landed, and a huge mothership landed, and off stepped. He saw Jesus and Michael, who he thought were almost
mm,
similar, and he saw the eyes, he saw the hair, and he stepped off, and he was told about I guess I don't know if he was told about humanity. He was told thereafter the different types of events that would take place with 9/11, with COVID, and all the other types of events that have
mm.
happened. So what is your take on Jesus himself in terms of his connection to the universe beyond what we know him to be?
I would say he's one of the absolute greatest masters ever existed, and he's still there. He's still around, of course, and he has visited Earth, and he will come back. I don't know when, but he probably come back again. He's one of the really, really great enlightened masters. Uh, there are not many of them, but there are some, and this is, shall we, let me say, uh, a level a little bit above those we usually call archangels. So the masters are they are the teachers and masters of most of us, because there is not much above them, about apart from I mean, what we call God or the source or whatever we call this fount of light, or this source of light.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd say he is the master, at least the greatest master who has ever lived on our planet in physical form. There have been others. There have been the Buddha, the Krishnamurti. There have been lots of them, very much enlightened beings. But he was quite special because
Yeah.
he he um, he accepted being very human, and very very much one of us,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and takes on all the suffering it meant. So he went through the dark night indeed.
Yeah. Very quickly. Not very
Yeah,
quickly, but um, when we,
but
yeah,
thoroughly, I say.
yeah, absolutely. When we look at the assistance from extraterrestrial contact and their
Mm,
ability to step into the situations that exist, nuclear facilities, wars. Um,
mm.
what role do they play? What role will they play in assisting us, or how do we uh, call upon them for their help?
We don't need to call upon them. They will come because they know, they are informed about what happens here, and they know perfectly well what we are doing and not doing. They have instructions not to interfere so far unless we fire off nuclear weapons. Because if we send out some atom bomb or some nuclear thing, they will stop it,
Yeah,
because it will destroy also their dimensions, and not only ours. So that is forbidden, and they will stop it.
Cool.
And they have already stopped some missiles from North Korea, which is, yeah, they tried to fire off and they were kind of
Getting,
distracted.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because people aren't familiar that after World War II, when Hiroshima took place and the atmospheres were affected by the bombs themselves,
Mm,
that's when most of the visitations in Roswell and other areas were being taking place.
exactly,
And
exactly. They were 47, 48,
yeah, and also the ballistic
right after the
missiles,
war.
the warheads being diverted away from destruction that was shot off. And
Mm,
so interesting, such an interesting concept, technology. It's as if we're living in a dream, so to speak, where we haven't caught up to the future of where our potential is or who we are. And I watch many shows, and I think about time traveling, and I think about the
mm,
experience of having a doppelganger or someone who's already in the future, that soul, that higher being, experiencing something in more of a galactic environment. Recently, it's interesting for myself. Speaking to you, I do meditation, I do breathing, and I remember a guide of mine being the feminine. More now, it seems like almost like a galactic being or a big, tall figure in my presence,
mm,
which
mm.
felt it changed. It changed to almost like a very strong vibration or energy. And so, what would you recommend, or what message would you leave to people who are on this path of beginning to understand the things that we're discussing, where they're questioning, but they're interested?
First of all, I would tell people, please realize that you are not a human body with a soul. Realize that you are a soul having a human body as your tool to work on this planet. That is the most important thing, to understand what you are and who
Yeah,
you are. And then to say, why am I here? What's my mission? What can I do? What gifts have I been given? And for what purpose? Ask yourself all those questions before you start doing anything at all. When you know who you are, when you understand that you are a soul here to do something, either to learn something, to teach people, or to affect something, or to connect, or whatever,
yeah,
then start doing it. It sounds terribly easy, but it is difficult
yeah, yeah,
because people can't quite get the idea out of their brains that they are beings with souls. That's the opposite is right. You are a soul. That's difficult to grasp for most. Then I think anything you do in your practical physical life helps you in your spiritual life. For instance, what you eat, how you dress, your kind of consuming habits, how you educate your children, anything. It has to do with your spirituality, with the way how you can grow as a person.
yeah,
And that is important. Show in your personal life what you expect to become. Be already what you want to become. Start to be that being. If you want to become, say, I wouldn't say president, it's not adequate right now, but if we will say, okay, you want to be a leader of United Nations, act as one.
yeah,
Act as a leader, as a wise guide and leader. If you want to be a good teacher, well, start being that. Don't wait for things to happen to you. Start to make things happen instead. That's my advice to people.
yeah,
Be already, you are a soul. Start to be already that evolved being that you are, instead of pretending I can't, I'm so small, I'm so insignificant, I can do nothing. All that. It's not valid anymore. It's
yeah.
not usable.
That,
Start being what you really are.
yeah, that's very inspirational.
Your soul's purpose.
Yeah, thank you for that insight. If you could, if you, I don't know how you receive your information. Is it telepathically, visually, sound? But however you do, maybe you could explain how, and if there's a specific message that we should be aware of from the extraterrestrial context that you have? I mean, you've mentioned a few. Is there something that you left out that you wanted to pass on, other than the message that you just left us with?
No, nothing new really. It's all the same. I
Yeah,
mean, they know we can do better,
yeah,
and they will help us to understand. Last weekend, I was in another place in our country teaching a group about their potential. I was telling them, you all have the best kind of yourself, the potential, what you can become. Find out your potential and start living it, because we can a lot more. We can afford a lot more, we can achieve a lot more, we can be a lot more than we are presently.
yeah,
And if everyone starts to become his or her best version of him or herself,
yeah.
wouldn't that be fine?
Beautiful.
That's my message for tonight, for today, for this year, perhaps. Be the best ever yourself.
Well, and that's a beautiful, beautiful message, and in combination with the words you mentioned before.
Yeah,
If somebody were interested in contacting you, um, is there
I
any?
think you have my mail address already, and you're free to give it out to those who ask.
Okay, so I'll put that down in the description below.
You can put my email address down
Yeah,
in the
I,
line.
I
Yes.
will. Okay, so
And
on that,
they are free to write to me. And I have a promise. I promised when I was on another show, I was on Jeff Mara's show, for instance, and I said, I'll answer all emails. I got several hundreds. I have
yeah, yeah.
50 left to answer now. But yeah, people are free to write. And I promise to answer all emails,
Okay, and let's
because
let
people ask a lot of questions,
yeah,
and they
absolutely.
have a lot of need to have these questions answered, and I try to do my best to advise them.
Are you writing any book or any future work in the making as we speak?
I've just finished my book on climate and system changes, and I left it to a publishing company, and I hope they will accept it. I'm now writing a book on which I call ET Phone Home, on communication, consciousness, and aliens.
That's
A long title, but it's about how to communicate with alien beings.
okay.
That's
Well,
what I'm doing right now.
yeah, yeah. So I
It will
want
take some time to finish, but yeah, hopefully I will have it published.
maybe you'll have a phone number on the book of how to contact them. Um, that was a joke. Anyway, I uh, I want to thank you for joining me and giving me this opportunity to sit in your wisdom and your life experience, which is very short of the time that we're here, which is there's so much more information. But the relative stuff that we spoke about was what we needed to talk about for this meeting. So I thank you.
Thank you so much for having had me. I'm so pleased to have met you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.